Hi everyone and happy holidays. My name is Amy Dixon and I'm from Leonard's Wines, and I'm really excited to tell you today about some incredible sparkling wines and champagnes for the holiday. There's really nothing more festive than coming over to someone's house for a party and bringing a good bottle of champagne or sparkling wine. It says that I'm thinking of you. It also says I know a little bit of something about wine, and the reason being is that champagne and sparkling wine are the best food wine on the planet, and they are a fail-safe option if you don't know what somebody likes to drink. And also it's a good option if you don't know what they're serving for dinner that night. If you're going to a friend's house and they're having a beef roast, you know, champagne's still going to work. If they're having light hors d'oeuvres, champagne's going to work. I guarantee it. And I'll explain to you why. Champagne and sparkling wine have the best acidity of any wine on the planet. So high acidity equals food-friendly wine, and that's exactly what champagne and sparkling wine have. So first of all, we're going to talk about the different styles of champagne and alternatives to champagne that come from California, that come from Italy, and also from Spain. So Champagne is actually the name of a place in France. This particular place grows 3 types of grapes, which I'm sure you're familiar with: Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, and a third grape called Pinot Meunier, which is another red grape. And you go, red wine in my champagne sparkling wine? That doesn't make any sense to me. Well, as you see by this beautiful pink color over here of the Nicolas Feuillatte Brut Rosé, that actually comes from that Pinot Noir and Pinot Meunier, because there's a little bit more of those grapes in here. When there's less of those grapes in there, you have a traditional Brut champagne, which is a nice dry style. And Brut Rosé is even drier, if you can believe it, because it's got some red wine in there. The wonderful thing about champagne is that, again, it is a place, and only champagne can be called champagne, meaning it has to come from that town. Lastly, there's some great alternatives. If you're not on the budget and the sky's the limit, and you want to really go for it and impress your guests or impress your wife or husband, bring a bottle of Dom Pérignon. This is a vintage champagne that comes from a specific year. Dom Pérignon has an incredible reputation for hundreds of years of producing quality champagne. It always comes from a specific vintage, and it's something very special. This is about the $150 price range, and if you're not on a budget, it's a fantastic, fantastic bottle of wine. If not, in the $30 range, $30 to $60 range, you can do traditional Brut champagne and Brut Rosé. So for wines that don't come from champagne, everything else is called sparkling wine. And we've got 2 incredible sparkling wines from California. One is actually called Roederer Estate. And the wonderful thing about Roederer Estate is this is made by a very famous producer in Champagne in California. Get that. Louis Roederer makes a famous wine called Cristal, and this is his California project. This retails for about $20 a bottle and is wonderful, wonderful alternatives. Next, I would highly recommend Schramsberg. These guys have been making sparkling wine in California longer than anyone else, and they are a seal of quality. Everything they make, from their Brut to their Brut Rosé to their extra dry, which is slightly off dry, believe it or not, and their demi-sec, which is a sweet sparkling wine, are incredible. They actually age very well. If you wanted to wait a couple years to drink this, you absolutely could. It's a wonderful, special, special bottle of wine, and this retails about $30. Next, for me, I'm having a bunch of people over this holiday, and I'm a little bit on a budget. I would highly recommend Prosecco. And everybody's like, Prosecco, what's Prosecco? Prosecco is a sparkling wine that comes from northern Italy. It's very light and clean and dry. And I've got 2 different styles. You can get it slightly off-dry or a traditional Brut style. The slightly off-dry style is called Villa Jaime, and Villa Jaime is a terrific value. This retails around $10, $12, and it's just a lovely, slightly peachy, off-dry style. If Brut's more your cup of tea, Ponte Prosecco, which comes from a region called Valdobbiadene, it's a big mouthful, I know, but Valdobbiadene produces the best sparkling wine in Italy. They produce incredible Prosecco, and this retails about $13. It is smashingly good. Next, we go to Spain. Spain produces a particular type of sparkling wine called Cava, and Cava is usually made in a Brut style, though they make some Brut Rosé Cava too, and they make some off-dry styles, but about 90% of it's usually Brut. And it is wonderful. It usually comes from a vintage, as this one does, and this is called Revento y Blanc. And Revento y Blanc is wonderful sparkling wine. This is a great Cava. This will age a couple years, and you could drink it now. It's under $20 a bottle, as most Cavas are. and is a great alternative this holiday. So whether you've on the big budget where you're going to go in the $30 to $100 range, you go for champagne. Other alternatives would be California, you've got Cava, and you've got Prosecco. So a very festive holiday to all, and I hope you've enjoyed this, and cheers to everyone.